Starting with elite-tier SLA technology, the Formlabs Form 4 is built for engineering-grade accuracy and flawless workflow automation. Roll the tape.
I remember the first time I set up a resin printer years ago and waited 12 hours for a simple prototype. Last week, I loaded a complex engine manifold design into the Formlabs Form 4, and it was sitting on the build plate before I finished my second cup of coffee. The sheer speed of this machine caught me off guard because it completely changes how I approach a workday. I no longer have to plan my entire schedule around a single print cycle. Instead, I found myself iterating 3 or 4 times in a single afternoon, which is a level of productivity I honestly did not think was possible for a desktop unit. Design and build quality. The moment I pulled the Form 4 out of its box, I noticed the familiar orange UV hood, but the machine feels much more substantial than its predecessors. It weighs about 18 kilograms and sits firmly on the workbench with zero wobble during high-speed movements. The build volume has increased by 30% compared to the Form 3, which gave me the extra room I needed for larger industrial brackets. Everything from the sturdy metal frame to the responsive 7-inch touchscreen feels premium and professional. It does not feel like a hobbyist tool, but rather a piece of serious lab equipment designed to run around the clock. Key features in action. The real magic happens with the new low-force display engine. Unlike the older laser-based systems that trace every line, this unit uses a powerful LED backlight to cure entire layers at once. I was particularly impressed by the new resin handling system that fills the tank 5 to 10 times faster than before. I also tested the Z-axis force sensor, which automatically adjusts the print speed based on the geometry of the part. This meant that when I printed delicate, thin-walled structures, the printer slowed down just enough to preserve the detail without me having to manually tweak any complicated settings in the software. Performance and daily reality. In my daily testing, the Form 4 hit speeds of nearly 100 millimeters per hour with the fast model resin. I successfully printed a batch of 10 dental models in under 20 minutes, which is a staggering improvement over previous generations. The reliability is where it truly shines, because I encountered 0 failures across 30 consecutive prints. The surface finish is remarkably smooth, and even though the technical pixel size is 50 microns, the software uses clever anti-aliasing that makes the layers almost invisible to the naked eye. It creates parts that look and feel like they were injection molded rather than printed in a garage. Limitations and trade-offs. While the performance is top tier, there are some real-world frustrations to consider before you dive in. The machine is still a resin printer at heart, which means you're dealing with sticky liquids and the constant need for isopropyl alcohol washes. I found the lack of a built-in carbon filtration system disappointing, because the fumes can become quite noticeable in a small office without dedicated ventilation. Additionally, the move to a 50-micron XY resolution is technically a step back from the 25 microns on the Form 3, and it might bother those doing ultra-fine jewelry work despite the software improvements. You should also be aware that the open material mode requires an additional license fee, which might feel like a barrier if you prefer using third-party resins without extra costs. Final verdict. The Formlabs Form 4 is a powerhouse for anyone who treats 3D printing as a business rather than a hobby. You should buy this machine if you are an engineer or a designer who needs functional prototypes in hours rather than days, and you value a seamless ecosystem that just works. It's the perfect choice for professional environments where reliability and throughput are worth the $4,500 price tag. You should skip this printer if you're a hobbyist on a budget, or if your work requires the absolute highest resolution for tiny figurines where speed is not a priority. For the professional user, this is the most capable desktop resin printer I have tested to date.
Next up is a highly specialized powerhouse. The HeyGears Reflex RS Turbo brings industrial-grade speed and medical precision right to the desktop. Let's check it out. I loaded a highly detailed engineering prototype into the HeyGears Reflex RS Turbo, expecting the usual resin printing headaches like failed supports and messy cleanup. Instead, the print finished about 1/3 faster than my previous benchmark prints, and the dimensional accuracy was spot on, down to the micron. Before you rush out and buy one, though, there is something important to understand about what happens when you try to move beyond the company's own ecosystem. Design and build quality. When you first unbox the Reflex RS Turbo, the thing that immediately stands out is how solid and substantial it feels. At around 20 kilograms, it has more in common with industrial equipment than with a typical desktop resin printer. The first machine that came to mind was the Formlabs Form 4, which many people still consider the benchmark for professional resin printing. Even beside that machine, the Reflex feels impressive. The Z-axis uses a C5 grade module that keeps everything stable and helps eliminate unwanted movement during printing. As a result, layer lines are extremely difficult to spot. The amber display is protected by its own cooling system, and the overall construction gives the impression that the printer was designed to run day and night for long periods without wearing itself out. Key features: performance versus marketing claims. The specifications mention an impressive contrast ratio of 566:1 on the optimized amber screen. Numbers on a spec sheet are one thing, but I wanted to see whether that actually made a difference in real-world use. After testing it, I can say that the high contrast does translate into very precise light control. I printed several miniature models with sharp corners and complex details, and the printer cured resin exactly where it was supposed to. I did not notice the light bleed that sometimes softens fine details on lesser machines. One feature that genuinely saved me time was the intelligent automatic support generation. Normally, I might spend 20 minutes manually placing supports and double-checking everything to avoid failed prints. Here, the software handled the job in less than a minute. During my testing, I did not have a single model detach from the build plate. Power consumption and thermal management. Since this is a professional-grade machine that stays connected to power, efficiency and temperature control become especially important during long print sessions. The Reflex RS Turbo operates at roughly 180 watts, which is quite reasonable considering its performance. During several days of continuous testing, the dedicated screen cooling system lowered operating temperatures by about 10 degrees Celsius. That reduction helps protect the screen from long-term wear caused by constant ultraviolet exposure. If you choose the automatic resin heating system, power consumption increases slightly. However, the system keeps the resin at a consistent temperature of around 22 degrees Celsius. That means the resin behaves the same way whether you are printing on a cold winter night or during a warm summer afternoon. Consistent temperature leads to more predictable print quality and fewer surprises. Ecosystem integration and long-term ownership. One criticism often directed at HeyGears printers is that they were heavily tied to the company's own resin products, which tend to cost more than many alternatives. Recently, however, the company introduced an open material mode. I tested it with several third-party engineering resins and manually adjusted the exposure settings. The feature works, but it does require more experimentation than simply using the pre-configured profiles provided by HeyGears. The proprietary slicer software deserves some credit as well. It feels fast and stable, and I experienced fewer crashes than I sometimes encounter with certain open-source options. Looking at ownership costs over a period of 3 years, replacement components are definitely on the premium side. On the other hand, the printer's solid construction suggests that you will not be replacing parts nearly as often as you might with a lower-cost machine. How it compares to the competition. When comparing the Reflex RS Turbo with the Formlabs Form 4, the differences become fairly clear. The HeyGears machine can save you thousands of dollars up front because the Formlabs ecosystem is known for being expensive. In return, Formlabs offers one of the smoothest plug-and-play experiences available, along with a huge library of well-documented engineering materials. At the other end of the market, you could purchase an Elegoo Saturn IV Ultra for a much lower price. The Elegoo is capable of producing excellent detail, but it does not offer the same level of industrial consistency, advanced force monitoring, or adaptive slicing technology found in the Reflex RS Turbo. Limitations. What you should know before buying. This is probably the part that receives the least attention in the marketing material. The starting price of $1,189 looks extremely attractive considering the level of precision on offer. The problem is that to achieve the speed and reliability highlighted in many demonstrations, you will almost certainly want the optional heated tank and pulsing release module. Once those upgrades are included, the total climbs to approximately $2,359. That is a significant jump. The printer itself is excellent, but some of the features that make it truly competitive are effectively locked behind additional purchases. Final verdict: buy or skip? I would recommend the Reflex RS Turbo to intermediate and professional users who are expanding small-scale manufacturing, running a dental laboratory, or operating a design studio. If you need industrial-level accuracy but do not want to spend Formlabs-level money, this printer makes a compelling case. On the other hand, if you are simply a hobbyist who wants to print miniatures on weekends, it is probably more machine than you need. The additional module costs and the extra learning required for open material mode make it difficult to justify for casual use. In that situation, a quality consumer printer will likely give you a much better balance of cost and performance. And taking the FDM spot in the Pro category is the Bambu Lab X1 reliable, enclosed, and ready for advanced engineering filaments. Here is the full review.
I'll admit, I was skeptical. For years, 3D printing meant tinkering, leveling beds with a piece of paper, unclogging nozzles, and praying over the first layer like it was a fragile ritual. Then I unboxed the X1 Carbon. I didn't start with a calibration cube. I threw a 14-hour multicolor print at it straight out of the box, a complex model with overhangs that would usually make my Prusa sweat. I hit print from my phone while sitting on the couch and went to bed. The next morning, it was done. Perfect layers, zero spaghetti. It felt less like using a workshop tool and more like using a microwave. That is the magic and the danger of this machine. Design and build quality. The X1 looks like it belongs in a design studio, not a garage. The aluminum and glass enclosure is sleek, rigid, and surprisingly compact for its build volume. Unlike the bed slingers, like the Prusa MK4 or Ender 3, where the bed moves back and forth, this is a Core XY machine. The bed only moves up and down. This makes it incredibly stable at high speeds. However, premium doesn't mean quiet. This machine is loud. The chamber fan sounds like a small hairdryer, and when it's moving at full speed, the vibration is noticeable. If you plan to keep this in your home office, you will need noise-canceling headphones or a closet to put it in. Key features in action. The AMS, Automatic Material System. If you buy the X1 get the combo with the AMS. It's not just for multicolor prints, it's for laziness. I keep PLA, PETG, and support material loaded simultaneously. When a spool runs out, it can automatically switch to a backup spool. The catch, it hates cardboard spools, like brands like Overture or Polymaker. The rollers slip or cardboard dust gums up the gears. You'll find yourself wrapping spool edges in electrical tape or printing plastic adapter rings, a primitive fix for such a high-tech machine. LiDAR and AI detection. The printer uses a LiDAR sensor to scan the first layer and calibrate flow. In practice, this is 90% effective. It has saved me from a few failed prints by pausing when it detected a blob or spaghetti. However, it occasionally throws false positives on textured PEI plates, forcing you to resume the print manually. It's cool tech, but don't trust it blindly. The poop chute. To change colors, the printer cuts the filament, purges the old color, and wipes the nozzle. It creates little nuggets of waste plastic that shoot out the back. For a multicolor model, you can end up with more waste than actual product. It is shocking the first time you see the pile of plastic poop behind your desk. Performance and daily reality. Speed versus quality. The speed is addictive. I printed a standard Benchy boat in 17 minutes. But here's the reality. At ludicrous speeds, the parts are weaker and the finish is matte rather than glossy. For functional parts, I actually slow it down to typical speeds similar to a tuned Prusa to ensure layer adhesion. Engineering materials.
This is where the carbon in the name matters. I tested it with PA6CF, or nylon carbon fiber, and PC, or polycarbonate. The hardened steel nozzle and extruder gears handle abrasive filaments without chewing themselves up. Experience: with the engineering plate and a layer of glue stick, nylon prints surprisingly well. However, physics still applies. Large nylon parts will warp if you don't preheat the chamber properly. The chamber gets warm, about 50 degrees C, but it doesn't have an active heater. So for massive ABS nylon parts, you may still fight warping on the corners. Limitations and trade-offs. The walled garden. This is the Apple of 3D printers. The parts are proprietary. If a nozzle clogs badly, you aren't just swapping a cheap brass tip, you're likely swapping the whole hot end assembly. It's easy to do, 2 screws and 2 plugs, but it locks you into their ecosystem. Customer support. This is the biggest red flag. In my experience, and based on recent community reports, support response times are slow, often taking 3 to 7+ days for a meaningful reply. If this is a mission-critical machine for a business, you need to buy spare parts before you need them, because you can't rely on overnight support. Maintenance. Despite the no tinkering claim, you still have maintenance. The carbon rods need cleaning, do not grease them, and the belts need tensioning eventually. I also found the PTFE tubes wear out faster than expected due to the constant friction of the AMS loading-unloading. Final verdict. The Bambu Lab X1 Carbon is currently the benchmark for consumer 3D printing. It has made my other printers gather dust simply because it removes the friction between having an idea and holding the part. Buy this if you value your time more than your money. You want multicolor capabilities or easy support interface material. Using PLA support for PLA prints is a game changer. You need to print abrasive engineering materials like carbon fiber nylon out of the box. Skip this if. Noise is a deal breaker. It is too loud for a bedroom or quiet office. You are on a budget. The Bambu Lab P1S offers 90% of the performance for significantly less money. You lose the LiDAR and nicer screen, which frankly you can live without. You demand open source. If you want to modify every aspect of your machine firmware, stick with a Voron or a Prusa.